Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful.
Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Yep, it took me too long to eat food. I don't know what the deal is. I'm still recovering, I guess, from my colonoscopy, which, we'll talk about that. It was a trip. Okay, so charts. So yesterday, we started out just dismal. I mean, that was one of the biggest down days we've ever had. Although here we opened about right, where is it, 7:30? Okay, so we opened around here, and there was a late rally that got us back to break even on the day. And now overnight retracing a lot of that China scare. So I feel that the Evergrande movement was a little bit overdone. When I'm looking like on Zero Hedge, they're saying that the big data point that everybody's looking at is on Thursday when they're supposed to make their next payment. And there's a 30% chance of a default. So if there's a 30% chance of a default, does that justify the amount of downside that we saw yesterday? I don't know. But when you start getting long range days like this, that often results in a bottom. So let's just keep an eye on that. I don't really see a big reason for me to be trying to make big calls ahead of the FOMC tomorrow, which is more interesting for us in bond land. You can see there was quite a bit of risk off demand coming into the treasuries, but it wasn't really that excessive, to be honest with you. Only back up to 133.08. Okay. And then in the overnight, we've been back down. Well, I got a little bit of a slip there. The equity markets are pretty slippery right now. All right. Here's oil. I think we might, that kind of suggests to me we need to roll it over. I never pay attention to when these things roll over. You can see energy still coming off quite a bit off of those inflation fears from Europe. Gold, and seeing a little bit of a recovery, and silver in particular, stabilizing a bit. That trade still looks awful though. We'll see what happens to them today. Metals kind of trying to consolidate, but it looks like we just got a pretty decent down bar recently. Coming back out to the currencies, the dollar, we're looking pretty strong yesterday. Actually, you know what? For as much movement as we were having, only getting to 93.3 is not too bad, and now we're just kind of coming off. Bitcoin yesterday took a huge tumble. Look at that. And even a little bit more in the overnight session. So getting below that, what was that one? That was like the El Salvador drop. It's pretty meh. Now the resident of El Salvador is like, oh, I bought more. I don't know, man. If you bought more and we're still down here, that's not good. That's not good. You kind of sound like the bag holder to me. I heard the pow pow. Are the robots enabled? I want to hear. Oh, yes. Let's turn that on. Let's turn on the text-to-speech here. Oh, Tommy's already done for the day, huh? Will he be sitting on? No, don't worry like that.
Instance Mom says I heard a pow PVOV. Are the robot enabled and I can't wait to hear how German female sexy bot voice says PVOV. PVOV. Let's try. Pow. 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 Paul will taper.
That's funny that it doesn't, that the other one, it doesn't read out. There's this guy here in Discord. How long did it take for everyone to become a popular trader? Profitability is a day-to-day struggle, and you're in for a rude awakening if you think it's just one day you become profitable. Just one day you can claim you're a profitable trader. Yeah, all right. I was getting some comments on my TikTok. There was this guy, he was commenting on older videos. And there was one video where I was talking about the short that I had in treasuries over the taper. I mean, the situation is kind of different now, right? So, But it was weird. It was like, I felt like this guy is trying to goad me into making some sort of YOLO trade or something. I'm like, okay. Okay, whatever. What is with the TT at the end of that? Oh, you tried to add both of them, and it didn't. You forgot to put a space in between them. Anyways, so how did you guys fare yesterday? I mean, on one hand, I kind of was like bummed that I missed out on such a big down day like that. But on the other hand, like, oh, I'm super glad that I wasn't dealing with that crap, because that was a doozy yesterday, right? Yeah, 130 point drop. I saw Salim was showing me he on his sim, he took it and made swung almost the whole drop in NQ. It was crazy. It was a good trade. There are some little spikes up here in the treasuries. That's interesting. Didn't notice. Okay, so we do have some news. Oh, okay, so there was the 6:30 news. I missed it already. You see how I'm like off? I bet you today I'm gonna get this sleepiness. Remember the other day I was like, I got the sleepiness and it was because I didn't take my Stratera the day before? Well, I didn't take it for the colonoscopy, so I bet you it's gonna happen today. Okay, so housing starts, we got 3.9%. Was there not an estimates on that? Month over month, 3.9, that's pretty good. And building permits, 6%. That's pretty good. But was there a well, I mean, last month it was negative 0.7, so okay, there were estimates, just not just this economic releases tab didn't have it. So it was expecting 1.55 million and we got 1.62. And building permits, we were expecting 1.6 and we got 1.73. Interestingly enough, though, the treasuries didn't really move on that news. So I think that the housing numbers are important here because the whole question is, will the Federal Reserve taper? And a big reason why they want to taper is because of how hot the housing market got, right? So if the numbers for this month were all above expectations, that does slightly increase the chances for a taper. I also feel like, you kind of have to wonder, can they really taper when we've got this kind of like risk off action going? But they could say that it's going to blow over. They could say, oh, it's just the Evergrande thing, it's going to blow over, right? B1 deficiency mimics the symptoms of some common symptoms. What are some common impairments or whatever that it would cause? Let's check out Twitter here. Common illnesses can affect your gut digestion health. Yeah, ulcerative colitis is just such a weird thing, right? Because it's a very serious illness. For me, it's not a huge deal, but apparently for some people, it's so bad that like they wouldn't be able to stream. For instance, they have to go to the bathroom several times a day. They have to take steroids to, get out of when it's going off, when they're in a what do they call it? I don't know, when your when your immune system is triggered or whatever. And I'd say there's a fair amount of research out there on it, but they just really don't know what causes it, right? Crohn's disease too. And it's very much, let's manage it. Like, I'm sure that my doctor, follows the research and he has his own theories on it, but he just knows that like nothing really fixes it. And he's just focused on the treatments that they know work and making sure you don't get cancer. Of course, why not? He makes money from doing that, but he's a good doctor. Man, France is really getting butthurt about this this Australian deal. Jacob Janda, Australian diplomats and national security officials say privately that French talk on how France supports Australia within its Indo-Pacific strategy is BS. When Australia is pressured by China and it asks for EU-Australia trade deal, Paris stops it to quote-unquote protect its farmers. Yeah. That whole thing seems like a real diplomatic failure, though, because if you're going to do a deal like that, they should be aware of what's going on, right? Like, U.S. home builders are seeing shortages and delays inhibit sales amid solid demand. Okay. So here's what happened with the colonoscopy, right? I'm all ready and calm and everything, and they go to stick me. And the lady sticks me over here. I can actually see all of the holes where they stuck me. They're all kind of red. I don't know if you'd be able to see it. Actually, maybe you can. You can kind of see the little dot right there. You see it's how it's a little red there. But she sticks me, and she didn't get the blood vessel. Like, there was nothing there. So she's all feeling around for it. She's all talking like she's super confident. You know what I hate when they do this is they're like, I'm like, look, I have a history of passing out on this. So like, if you don't, maybe you want to get somebody else if you're not too confident in pricking them or whatever. No, they always act like, oh no, I'm super confident I can do it. Right? No. Especially when I'm dehydrated, like it just before a colonoscopy, right? So she sticks me, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna go and get somebody's help because I'm not finding anything." And I'm like, "Okay, take the needle out." And she doesn't do it. She goes to get the other person and comes back and I'm like, "No, you need to take it out." I'm starting to feel woozy, and then I passed out. Like this time it was a very, very brief. I was like, I'm not feeling very good. And then I think that it was just enough to go like whoosh like that. Hey, NASDAQ trader, how you doing? Anyways, so I passed out from that. So then the other girl that was there, she comes in and she's trying to find me. So they try to do, they try to do my arm or my hand. So they do it right there. There, I've got a little red mark there. You can see that one really well. You can see that one fairly well. Red mark. And she's like, well, it's kind of in there, but like you would watch the little drip, because the drip where they put the medication through was like, it was kind of intermittently dripping. So they're like, we just need to hold it like that, but I think it's fine. No, it was infiltrated. So I'm like, nah, this really hurts. And I'm sitting there for like maybe 5 minutes saying, no, like that doesn't feel good. It really hurts. The needle was infiltrated, which means that like it was like poking out of the blood vessel or something like that. And I got this huge, I mean, it was like this huge bump on my wrist right there from where the saline was going in, because it wasn't going into the blood vessel. So it just, this big, huge bump. It was so weird. Oh, I feel fine now. Well, I honestly feel fine. Yesterday, some of the spots, if I touched the spots, they still hurt. But this morning, maybe this one is still a little tender. This arm is still a little tender. Anyways, it was super crazy because like the girl, like she took it, when she took it off and she put a bandage on it and pushed it, like there was this huge divot. There's this huge divot there, which it actually looked really cool to me. Anyways, so they're like, okay, you know what? We're going to let the anesthesiologist do it. So I get in there and he tries poking me on my wrist right there. And he didn't get anything either. And I told him, it seems like the thing that seems to like make me pass out is when they miss it and they start digging around forever. That's when I have problems. So he's like, no, well, don't worry. I'm not going to fish. Poke in, didn't get anything. Tried poking it again. He tried it in my hand, and they have like they have like a blood finder. They have a blood vessel finder thing. So I think he poked me 3 times. He poked me 3 times and he couldn't find a blood vessel. Because like the thing is like if you're not very well hydrated, it's difficult to make the blood vessels like stand out. And then you're hungry and in a pretty weak, frail state anyways. It's really hard to find a blood vessel. And then on top of that, you've gone into anaphylactic shock. So like all of the blood vessels like tighten, like recede and tighten down and stuff. It's really crazy. So it's really hard to find one. So they get this lady, they're like, okay, you know what? Why don't you guys go find Tina? So Tina reassures me. She's like, don't worry, I'm going to get it the first time they call me Tina the sniper. What? When you have nerves of steel, it makes it hard to find your veins, all that ice water. Yeah, so Tina the sniper comes in and first time pokes it in. I think it was up here. Pokes in, caught it. And oh man, it's so much different when they find it. Because I can feel the needle go in, but like when the needle goes in and you don't get anything, then it just kind of hurts. But when it goes in and it finds a blood vessel, it's like as it goes into the blood vessel, you can just kind of feel it release.
How about some sympathy likes for speculators? A colonoscopy, but to add insult to injury, his nurse did injure him, and this certainly deserves some sympathy.
There you go. It certainly deserves some sympathy likes. No, like when the oh, hold on a sec. Whoa, hold on a second. So Financial Juice was just putting out a headline there about Evergrande, and it was a new guy that had his microphone up too high. Oh crap. Where are they there in the Financial Juice chat? Trading chat. Dude, did you guys hear that? Like, did you hear it coming out of my headphones and into the microphone? It was loud. Anyways, oh man, when it goes into the blood vessel, it's like that pain is like released, and then you can feel the water coming out of it, you know, like it feels cold because it's saline, it's cold, right? Oh, but then you're dehydrated. Oh, it feels so good. I felt so much better once they did that. And then the guy is like, okay, we're gonna put you out. So I had me turn on my side and they put it in. And that was the other thing, is I remember in the past them saying like, okay, let's count down. Let's, you know, we'll do that sort of a thing. And you kind of lose track of when you went out. It was very much the opposite for me this time. Like I as soon as he plugged that into me, I felt sleepy and I immediately went to sleep. But then they brought me back really quickly. I woke up on the way back. Belagar, good to see you. Can always hear. Just I just don't pay attention. That's funny. I was telling. An imputed value. That's interesting. Ray Dalio says Bitcoin has an imputed value. Imputed value, not an intrinsic value. I've never heard that term before. Imputed value, known as an estimated imputation, why even is an assumed value given to an item when an actual value is not known or available. Imputed values are a logical or implicit value for an item or time set wherein a true value has yet to be ascertained. I would argue that we can. I would argue that it does have an intrinsic value. Is he out there? Is he saying that on Twitter or something? He must be getting some. He must be being interviewed somewhere. Anyways, the Nasdaq trader, but why did you go there? Oh, it was for my colonoscopy. Now, the colonoscopy was good. At least all of the images and stuff, my colon looked pretty good, pretty solid. I got a pretty good move there with the treasuries moving up. That's interesting. We're going to get back to 1.31, huh? And the treasuries are definitely on the move up. Now that's odd. I mean, that is the opposite of what I would have expected them. Like, it is what it is. There's nothing to do that. Oh, they're training new members to assist in the agent session. Oh, okay, cool. No, so I have ulcerative colitis, which is like where your immune system attacks your colon and creates ulcers. It's like an autoimmune disease. Anyone else to lose the stream, or is my other computer mining big? No, it looks like we're okay on the stream health here. It says it's excellent for now, so. Anyways, so people that have ulcerative colitis are at extreme risk of colon cancer. So they want you to get screened every 2 years. So every 2 years I have to get a colonoscopy, and this was the third time. How was your doctor's appointment? So the procedure itself was fine, but they had a very difficult time getting the IV into me to administer the sedatives and everything else. So they had to poke me probably. I just went through the whole thing. The nurse did the one here. The other nurse did the one here. The anesthesiologist did me, I think, 3 times. And then Tracy the sniper was the one. I got a little red mark there too, probably from laying on something last night. Anyways, so that I got pricked like 6 times, right? No longer looking for a long. Well, I went short there, yeah. I don't know. I wish I had something useful to say here about the mini ace. The treasuries look unhappy about something. Like they're buying the treasuries up. So they performed experiments on you, right? It was pretty crazy with especially the anesthesiologist, because he was like, normally I'm doing much more difficult, much larger needles and much more difficult places to try and get them, and I'm having a hard time. And so he was even using like the blood vessel finder and everything. But Tracy the sniper, like next time I go there, so if you're in Utah and you're doing endoscopy, you're having problems, go get Tracy, man, because she was great at it. Anyways, so that was how it went. And then what the other thing that this is the worst part actually to me. So like after you get the colonoscopy, you got like all that air up in there, right? And so normally, like you wake up, you lay there for a little bit, and then you'll pass some gas, and it's like your whole digestive tract will pass the gas, and it's like the greatest, right? And then after that, you're fine. Not this time. I don't know what I did, if I needed to just like try and push it out, or I don't know. Like I didn't pass any gas, and so it was almost like the air like diffused back in. So eating wasn't fun. Like as the food was coming back into my digestive tract and pushing everything out, I felt was very uncomfortable. And I couldn't find a good place to eat. I wanted to go to the Core Life Eatery because they got like these rice bowls that would have been really good base for some good bacteria to start growing again in, and they were closed. So I went to the Cheesecake Factory. Went to that. Well, they weren't closed. They got rid of it. They closed it down, and they're putting a Cafe Rio there. But strange, funny enough, putting a Cafe Rio there. For you guys outside of Utah, it's a Mexican restaurant that's really popular. Let's see here. Fernando says he has IBS. He has colonoscopy every 2 years. Yeah. My understanding is IBS and are pretty much the same thing. It's just you're not getting ulcers from it. And yeah, I have to see the proctologist every like 6 months. Although he doesn't really, we don't really have to say very much. I think for me, I have the condition very much under control, just because it makes it's okay. It's probably not that authentic of a Mexican cuisine, but you know what I mean. Hold people in their butts, right? Well, I've had it since I was 30. Like that's pretty young to have it. I'm sure that someday they're gonna find out that certain people have a sensitivity to a certain type of food or a pesticide. They were saying that maybe there was a study suggesting that people who are sensitive to gluten, they don't have gluten intolerance, but rather they're reacting to the pesticide that is coming off of it. And EU has that pesticide banned, but the United States doesn't. It's not that sort of a thing. Maybe someday they will find that will be the case, and I will be able to sue for thousands of dollars. I can only hope. But overall, I wouldn't say it's terrible, other than that the medication that you use to manage it is super expensive. Block buy at 10. That's a pretty decent amount of volume that has gone through a 133.10.2, by the way. 22,000 already. I don't have any intentions on taking a big trade today, but maybe we'll do something. Never understood what makes a person go to proctology, though. You know what? It's probably very lucrative. You know, like because you're a doctor, like think about it. Okay, you're a doctor that gets people to come into you regularly, just like any other doctor. They have to come in every 4 months to manage this condition. But then it's also a condition where you have to do an outpatient procedure regularly, right? So yeah, I bet you that they make a ton of money. Probably as much, if not more, than the anesthesiologist. Anesthesiologists make bank, man. Anesthesiology is a place to be, man. I have a friend that he's in well, I know his wife better because she's on our weightlifting team, but he's a anesthesiologist and they do quite well. Back in the day, knowing block trades alert was a big thing, like knowing icebergs hidden today. Was there like a actual block trade alert there, by the way? I wish that the market data that we got through CQG and Rhythmic, when we got a volume that came in that was an actual like block trade, you know, that it would tell us that it was like a CME block trade. There is a tool to look at that though, right? CME, let's go look. One of the things that I really like about News Squawk, if you get their fixed income one, is that they'll report those kinds of trades to you. HF says we can, but it's delayed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't come through your CQG or Rhythmic data, right? When my system says that there's a block trade, it just means that there was a market order that was all more than 3,000. So the block trade at 10 there is kind of something that might get them stuck for a little bit. The thing you really want to pay attention to is if there's a big trade and then all of a sudden nobody wants to hold a whole lot of volume there right now. Well, they're getting up to 23, so maybe it's not so bad, but HF says, but that's after it happens. Yeah, so let's see here. In where is it? Tools, I think it is. Treasury Watch tool, quick strike tools. No, that's not what I want. I want the block trade tool. Access historical block trade data with the data mine. No, that's not it. It's something else. That's some other weird tool I've never seen before. Block trade browser, that's what I want. And rates. Well, they don't have any listed for, at least right now. since several hours ago. So they mostly happened before a reversal. I have seen some situations where we were away from a price, and then I heard news squawk say that the block trade came through, and then within about 2 minutes we traded up to that spot, and then you saw the huge volume. Was really weird. Was really weird to me because I was like, what? Wait, you can just straight up front run it? Wish block trades and icebergs are all native rather than synthetic. Yeah, I wonder what the ratio of them are right now. You know? I was saying on the stream the other day, it was something that I don't share very often, but maybe we should talk about more, but that the more volume that you have on a price, the more likely you are to see orders cancel. So if you see a pretty big number, right now the biggest we've got here on the Treasury is the 53.97, right? But you can see it's changing quite a bit. So there's probably a lot of traders there adding and canceling orders at that spot. Makes it, I think, a pretty good level to look at. Versus if it wasn't changing at all, suggesting that there's like only one big guy there. There's a lot of things like that. It just kind of goes into like, you can tell with the way that it ticks when they tick down and there's an iceberg there. You know, I think you can kind of tell whether it's synthetic or real. I feel that all that matters is delta volume. Well, I tell you what, I'm way more interested in when the liquidity disappears, right? Like I'm thinking of it from the perspective of these are robots. They're putting liquidity at every level. If they all of a sudden completely pull and it ticks down, why did they do that? Like there's almost always a good reason that happened, and it's probably because of some sort of a correlation, right? So I see that moving and I see the dollar moving, then all of a sudden I go, okay, they're moving off of currency correlations or whatever the deal is, right? But you know, like those, I want to know when those market makers that are literally just trying to arbitrage things are deciding that that's not a good spot for them to try and take volume. Like that matters a lot to me, right? And similarly, when we create these holes, these areas where there's just not a lot of liquidity that wants to hold on the inside bid and offer in that location, that also is very much something that I pay attention to, because both of those things are like confirmable edges based on the properties of the market. Does that happen often? It definitely happens often, especially on the thing that I think is frustrating when I'm trying to scalp is that very often happens on strong moves, right? You'll think, okay, if we're going to move back down to 133.05 half, that's going to be a strong, strong selling come through and cancel out the buying. But what often happens is they'll just trade through 09 500 contracts, 08 half 500 contracts, and it's like on nothing. And you're like, how can that happen? There's all this volume here before, and now there isn't any volume at all. Now they just completely pull. They were completely willing to hold it before, and now they're not. And why is that? It's because they're arbitraging, and the arbitrage isn't there anymore. And then, yeah, you don't want to stand in front of those, because that really pulling like that indicates informed trading. Maybe it's informed just over a correlation, but it's informed trading. You don't want to stand in front of those. Similarly, I don't necessarily want to be, buying into like the icebergs or even joining the icebergs, because that might mean that there's a big trader and I don't know what they're going to do. I kind of want to avoid them, right? Someone's stop run is someone's fill. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing, is that as of late here in the treasuries, I've very much been doing it like, okay, I think that treasury should go down, so I want to wait for a really strong move against that doesn't seem to have a fundamental catalyst, right? Like if we can get these to move up and it's because of an auction, for instance. So really the best example, right? If we get it to go up on an auction, then that's when I want to get short, right? Because that was a move based off of liquidity needs and not based on fundamentals. You can predict where people's stop losses are on Jigsaw? And maybe. I've done quite a bit of work on the sort of the stop run sort of a thing, because as stop, if you have a good model for predicting stops, you should be able to get a place where you can predict future order flows. Like, they go through this particular price, they should go through it by quite a bit just because of the people that are going to get stopped out, right? And that's kind of what this thing tries to do. It actually does a pretty good job of identifying the spots where you're gonna get bounces. You can see they come back to the seller cost basis, and they go up, they bounce off of that. Now, that bouncing off of that line is actually a little unusual. That's the point at which nobody selling today makes money. That, maybe they might have made a little bit of money through market making here, but once you get to that point, it's like they couldn't have made any money. So when you're above that line, you're really strongly trending in one direction, right? But that's what this is trying to do. But when I've gone through and I've done back testing on it, and I've just been like, okay, if we come through this line, I want to reverse it, or whatever the deal is, I haven't been able to get those back tests to work, like come out profitable. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because it seems like the line works so well sometimes, but then it's like, well, yeah, but it's technical analysis, right? So it's kind of like technical analysis to try and say, well, this line, they're gonna not do something or not do something. It could be that the line is really effective, but it just gets crossed by informed trading so often that it's not really a worthwhile trade. Could be. So I guess my point is that it seems like knowing where people's stop losses should be really useful, but the research that I've done on it, I haven't been able to find an actual real edge in it. Coinbase is bowing to pressure from U.S. regulators and tabling plans to launch a product that would pay users interest for lending out their tokens. Oh, it's just like I said. If you want to do bank things, you have to become a bank. And if Coinbase doesn't want to become a bank, then they're just not going to do it, because they would lose hardcore. There were some people on TikTok that were really adamant against that, and that the SEC was just bullying them. That should shut up, because they were so dead wrong on that one. Stop loss is 99% in retail traders. Well, the other point is, though, the other difficulty is this: is how do you know that it was a stop loss? Like give me qualitative metrics or quantitative metrics that we can use to determine that an order was a stop order without using market by order data. There's definitely some. I've definitely seen some spots where it's like there's a high or the low of the day, and they break through it several ticks all at once, and like, oh, that had to have been a stop run, right? Similarly, we've seen in the treasuries a couple of times lately where it looks like a big player got caught out on something and was stopping out, right? Give up on stop losses and learn options? Maybe. Somebody was really trying on TikTok was like, oh, why don't you do these puts and these puts? Like we were talking about, you're probably likely to see some weakness in the S&P 500 later this year, but that's kind of a difficult trade, and I'm more interested in the interest rates thing, and I can just swing these micros. And so that's what I did, and I got some okay trades off of it. You do them with options. Like, one, you have to risk a lot to really get those, to really do those options. I feel like you have to risk a lot. And then second of all, you have to time it and all that crap. I don't feel like that's the game that I want to play either. But somebody was trying to talk me into doing YOLO trades on options, and I'm like, no, thank you. French far-right pundit surges in polling for presidential race. I don't think that pundits always make the best politicians, so... Well, the treasuries are coming back a little bit now, and actually quite a bit. They actually came back pretty good here in the micros. That is not true. How do you risk more than in directional trades? Well, so let me explain how. So if I want to go and I want to trade SPY puts, right, then I'm going to be probably spending few thousand dollars on one option, right? Whereas if I come in here and I do a trade on the micro treasuries, I'm risking like $5. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're wrong in the options, then it expires worthless and you lose the whole thing, right? Trade the MES options? You might be able to do that, yeah. Well, those ones, how much are those ones actually? I think with MES, you're still getting in. Actually, with MES, I think that the options are sized about the same as the futures themselves, aren't they? Because there's no multiplier on them. They're just 1-to-1. Like one option is for one future or something like that. Could be wrong on that one. I haven't looked at it in a long time, to be honest with you. So, News Squawk is tweeting about that the market really reacted to an Evergrande piece of news, but I'm not sure what piece of news he's talking about, because it doesn't seem to me like the market is really moving right now. Kind of looks bearish. Like I can see Jay is getting some signals of a long, but then it keeps going down on him. It's kind of like a persistent bearishness out there in the market right now. You only lose premium. I don't know. Like the thing is for options, the only way that I think options make sense is you're doing risk arbitrage, basically, right? Like you have a spot where you know that doesn't make sense for anybody to buy it there and then you put it out. Like I can't see myself doing options discretionarily. Just like I'm not sure for maybe NQ and some of these instruments, I think I could scalp discretionary, but treasuries scalping discretionary, I've kind of tried that, and I'm convinced that I would probably need more algorithmic help to really be successful with it. Options are amazing for advanced risk calculations. Yeah, I could try and do a more advanced setup with them. Always with options, it always comes down to you have to be able to time them, and that's hard. I really think that what you want is you want a leveraged instrument that allows you to swing. Leveraged instrument that is really specific to one specific asset, and that the margin requirements are so low that you can swing it. Because here in the treasuries, if you can basically double the amount of money that you put in for the day trade margin. You can basically double it on reads that, if you really know what's going on, can be really easy sometimes. If you can't time it, then you just pay more on premium. Maybe. I'm not convinced that it's more fertile ground, is I guess the point. Like it seems to me that the difference that you get is that you can do a lot more fancy math on it. Brannigan Barrett tweeting, the housing crisis is now a political issue. Central banks around the world are going to be including this in rate setting moving forward, probably. I think they already have been considering it. Because the housing market going super, nobody was buying housing, and then all of a sudden, all of the millennials all at once decided they want a house. Problem. That's a problem. Let's see here. Bank of America being quoted by Carl Quintilla. Our China economist modestly cuts China 2021 real GDP to 8.0 from 8.3, and more significantly cuts 2022 to 5.3 from 6.2. She believes the likelihood of the bearish case, quote unquote, on Evergrande or disorderly liquidation of assets spillover is very low. Well, how much time do we have until the open here? 7 minutes? Anyways, I feel like that options makes a lot of sense if you're doing some algorithmic trading though, right? Because there's just like more opportunities to find an inefficiency, like to find an arbitrage opportunity there. There's so many ones you can hold this huge portfolio of things. YouTube Finance says, see, you see the possibilities. Yeah, I don't know if I have the time or expertise to write a system like that. You know, I would have to learn a lot about some statistical arbitrage models and risk management models in the options. And they'd have to get a really good system. I mean, it'd be a big, you might as well start a company for it. Might as well just go and work for Citadel if that's what I wanted to do, right? But what I'm trying to do is more watch the market for informational inefficiency. I suppose there could be some situations. There could be some situations where doing it with an option might make sense. But I like futures because of your ability to manage the risk. Seth's dream job is running a hedge fund for Citicorp. Well, if I was doing really well with this, I would absolutely start a hedge fund. And like I was talking about yesterday, if the YouTube channel ever starts doing better, we definitely want to get into, we want to hire an editor. I was realizing, there's so many times where we say good stuff on stream and those could be turned into videos. Have a video editor. And then once we got the stream up to where we wanted, then I think we would start hiring like analysts and stuff and start like a full on analyst coverage and then maybe even at some point move to a fund. If you want to get big, you need to get on Twitch. I don't know, man. So we used to stream to both of them actually, and everybody preferred to use YouTube. Like here on YouTube, we got a really dedicated group of guys that were here every day and talk and so forth. And on Twitch, we never got that. There are some situations where maybe if we had put everything into Twitch and not YouTube, that maybe we would have had a bigger following during the whole GameStop fiasco. Because there were some other people that were on Twitch that blew up simply because they were on Twitch over that, right? Twitch seems like a better platform to monetize on, though. Probably the stream would be making more money if we were streaming it exclusively on Twitch, at least at the current time. But I'm playing the long game here, guys. Number one, the long form content is probably more valuable to you guys. And number two is I feel like Twitch is just like screwing up. I don't think that Twitch is going to be top dog for long. I think that eventually YouTube is going to duplicate some of those features and fix it, and the algos are way better for stream, but they don't really have an algo on Twitch though. Really, the only way that you get discovery from Twitch is if you're the top streamer in your category and people are searching for that category. That's probably why we got so many more viewers here on YouTube than we did on Twitch. To build a following on Twitch, it would have to be almost entirely brought in from, other social media outlets, like Twitter and stuff. Which my Twitter, for whatever reason, I've had a very hard time building it up. Just here because you guys trade futures in somewhat no degenerates. There you go, AO. That's exactly why. Because that's exactly what we're going for. That's a serious... Anyways, the whole Twitch thing is every once in a while I'm like, maybe we should switch to only streaming on Twitch and seeing what happens. right? Because the thing that I like about Twitch is you do subs. Okay, so for a long time you couldn't really do subs, and YouTube changed that, right? So now you can do subs. Good deal. But then the other thing is that you can gift subs to people. I think that if we could gift subs to people, then we could do a lot of different stuff. And I really think that my indicator package is a really great deal for $5 a month. But a lot of you guys aren't using NinjaTrader, right? So do it. I just don't think it's worth it. I'm sure that you guys would all move over to Twitch. I think actually one time we did just only stream to Twitch for like a week, and it didn't really. Do you think it's possible to make 50% on your futures account a month? Well, it's certainly possible to do in 1 month, but consistently do it over and over and over again. You're probably doing something pretty risky. There was some guy who made a stock market stream and wore a Batman mask and he got 300 viewers a day. I don't know. The thing is we've been doing quite well. That's the thing. Like, it's kind of funny. You're like, we're doing really well. Like, we're doing well enough that what we do make from the stream, we've been able to put back into and basically get anything that we ever wanted, like equipment wise and everything. And I don't know what to do with it now. But not enough to go and do the more serious things that I really think would take the stream to the next level, like hiring people. So it's kind of frustrating, but I feel like I have a little bit. I went through a period where I just didn't care about that sort of stuff, but now I feel like I'm more on a mission. Like we want to try and hire somebody, and we should work on the YouTube channel. And I kind of see some of the channel's deficiencies now because people have been asking me questions, and I'm like, I really should have a video about this, and I don't. So we can work on that. Not really. The math says it's possible. Well, like I was saying, to make 50%. So let's say you have a $1,500 account. I think that's a pretty good amount to start with in the ES. Can you make $750 a month? Yes, you can. But that's pretty aggressive, right? You're doing like Top Step trader kind of numbers. If you're doing that every month. Oh, by the way, the equity markets have opened and their initial move is very much down. How much volume is on that? Okay, and it looks like Jay took a stop. Yeah, what a drop. The Treasury is still kind of sticking largely to the 10. I mean, there was an extension there, but they're still touching 10 for now. We'll see if it's just kind of like a touchback and on the the liquidity pocket, and they're still going to buy it up. Well, I'm not getting the sleepiness here. I'm actually kind of thinking about trying to go long rates here. I don't know if that really makes sense, though. Oh, well, one thing I haven't done, by the way, is they switched my account over. So if I switch this, I am... Oh, now I have to go back and change it again. That's so funny. I can't actually submit orders right now. Wait, let me try that again. I just want to... Okay. Interesting. Mm-mm-mm. Where was it? When was it? Oh, here we go. Micro Treasury Future. Now, what is the term that we use? They moved the accounts over. NinjaTrader being my FCM, right? Should go for big MFE trades or no backtick trades? I don't know. Uzi, you haven't gotten an email about it yet? Really? So it's not everybody, huh? Yeah, so the way that it worked for me was I got an email that said, okay, we're moving your account over this weekend. So make sure that you exit all positions before the weekend. Otherwise, we might just take you out of them. And then you need to go and log in and create a new password. And then once you do that, you can log into the little back-end thing that they've made for NinjaTrader that has a little bit easier way to deposit money and stuff like that. Lucas says, sorry, was this with... Yeah, it is. So these are for those of you that have NinjaTrader broker accounts. Yep, customer portal. I'd say it's better than the customer portals that you were getting from the other FCMs, for sure. But apparently, them switching me over got rid of all of the things that I had set up for being able to trade the micros. Haven't got an email. So they must be doing only a few accounts at a time. So maybe you'll get one, in the coming weeks. You have both Dorman and Philip? Oh, that's interesting. Well, I believe that I moved over from Philip, right? So... Not sure what that means. You'll get the email at some point. What did the email say? It said your brokerage account is scheduled to transition from Philip Capital to NinjaTrader Clearing this Saturday, September 18th. And then it gives you a link that you can go and log in with. This link will expire Wednesday, September 22nd. Already did that. As a reminder, your Continuum/CQG live username and password will not be changing. Please review the required steps and important dates below to ensure a seamless transition and avoid any interruption to your trading. Does the email say it in that tone? Yes, it does. Friday, September 17th. Please exit all trading positions prior to market. Oh, shit. I did not put my... Hold on. I guess I didn't put my light back on very well and it fell down. That's okay. Nothing hurt. Nothing hurt. Here, just gotta readjust the screen because it moved the screen. Remember that time Seth burned his hands on a studio light that moved on him? No, actually, I don't remember that. That scared me. Yeah, it scared me too. Earthquake. Oh my gosh, guys. NT clearing, do we trust them? Sure. Okay, so anyways, Friday, September 17th, please exit all trading positions prior to market close and disable the account connection from your platform. If you're still holding a position, it may be closed at the discretion of NinjaTrader Order Desk, or your account may remain at Phillip Capital. Sunday, your new NinjaTrader clearing account will be available for live trading prior to the market open. Please be aware you will need to use the account selector from any NinjaTrader 8 window to update your workspaces to select your new account. All active automated strategies will require an update to select your new account. All historical trade data associated with your Phillip Capital account will be accessible through your Control Center Trade Performance window. New account statements will be available in the NinjaTrader account portal for your review in the evening. And that's what you get. So. Sounds like the great start of a 60-minute news stories. Why makes you think that? If you don't trust NinjaTrader to be your futures clearing merchant, then maybe you shouldn't be on NinjaTrader brokerage. You're with AMP. I mean, AMP was... I can't complain with AMP. I would say that they're an awful brokerage, but it's like you're getting what you pay for, right? They're the cheapest, but they don't provide very good support, and that's what you should expect for being cheap. And if you wanted better support, you have to pay more, right? But I think that they're pretty good and probably the best option for most people. But it's like NinjaTrader has basically made it so that you basically can't use NinjaTrader anymore unless you're on NinjaTrader brokerage. So that's why I moved. I didn't want to. I wanted to go over to the Edge Clear guys, but I just like the NinjaTrader platform too much. AMP always treated me well. I only switched because of the indicators. The issue with AMP is that there's, like the whole point of the futures broker, not the FCM, but the broker itself, is to like provide support and stuff, right? And their support was not always on the ball. Edge Clear platform is great, but ain't Java. No, I thought it was Java. No. Yes, it is. Because it's I forget the name of the platform that they have now, or what it was based off of. But I think it is Java. Gus says I'm moving to TT. Hey. If you need a lot of support, are you making money? Well, that's kind of the whole question, right? Like so here's the thing. If I was doing swing trading and I was making a lot of money from it, I would absolutely be willing to spend extra money on the commissions, right? You're scalping, it doesn't make as much sense because the commissions ends up being such a major part of your costs, right? But for a swing trader, what's the most important thing? If something screws up, they can fix it fast. And that's where you want to go, and you want to be like an Optimus or Edge Clear. I thought it isn't, but it could be wrong. Yeah, I seem to recall when I was looking it up that to write stuff for it that I had to be in you had to do it in Java, and I was like, I have no interest in writing Java code ever again. I'm probably way too negative on Java. I mean, if you want to write an app on Android, then you got to use Java, right? But there's just a lot of things about Java that like working with it at work, the ecosystem for Java is just so frustrating. And then making like native window applications with it, it's terrible. Okay, well, the E-mini has turned positive now. The cumulative delta hasn't really shifted. It's still really mixed. But the treasuries do look like they're going to come up. I could come and take this one right here. It looks like they're falling out. I really hope that NT email didn't wind up in your spam. Well, the thing that's funny is that you won't, you probably wouldn't notice until you log in over the weekend and you come in and your account number is a little different, I guess. I guess I kind of assumed that everybody got transferred over at the same time, but that's clearly not the case. It's probably alphabetic, though, and your last name is way before. It probably is what it is. That one didn't work so well. It was a little risky on like the move away from 10, but cool. They let me out. Let me scratch that one. Now they're probably going to go and do the fill where I want it anyways. It is kind of funny that in the micros, like nobody trades the 2. I want that ACH stuff. I just liquidated 20,000 in Magic the Gathering cards, and I want to. Oh yeah, dang Uzi. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It is. Well, I mean, I haven't used it. I haven't transferred any money with it. Maybe I should try it. But it looks easier. I mean, it's just a thing where you put your bank account information in and then it pulls it, but it looks like way better than what I had to do with AMP. Ugh. The AMP, I just was always ending up doing the money transfer because anything else was too complicated. Oh, they responded back to me and they're like, these markets are not tradable yet. Wouldn't mind being able to set up recurring transfers. Now that's an interesting. I don't know if I would be willing to do that. You drop 100 a week into your E-Trade portfolio. Hey, that's a good way. That's a good way of doing it. Let's see here. Somebody's spamming me on Discord about cryptocurrency stuff. Oh, and the Salim sent me that video. We could. Oh, no, we can't do that. Mute. Okay. So Salim sent me a video, but I can't. With the way that you recorded it, I can't really see a whole lot. I mean, all I can see is the prices changing, which isn't very useful. So I can't really comment on what you sent. You have to show me the DOM or something. The only reason why I don't like NinjaTrader is you can't use CQG. No, that's not the way it works, AO. Actually, what is it? NinjaTrader Continuum is basically CQG, right? NinjaTrader Continuum is basically CQG rebranded for NinjaTrader. It's a watered down version, I think, not sure. Let's see here. There you go. NinjaTrader uses CQG Continuum as its primary data provider for live brokerage account, although Rhythmic is supported as well. Monthly data fees are required with a full market depth option, or you can get top of book data for reduced fees. Deep Matter says so many people trapped by that lack of info. Maybe. This is why I need to, I was saying like I need to make some videos about this because somebody was asking me the other day, like, how do you do the bridge? How do you use the bridge? And it was like, well, it's pretty simple. I don't, but then I started realizing like there's all of these little complications and it depends on your broker and everything. So I kind of actually, if you guys want, we can kind of do a little bit of organization here. So since we're talking about it, right? I'll make a new page here. Okay, so the whole thing is it comes down to your broker / platform, right? If you want to use NinjaTrader, then you have to use NinjaTrader brokerage. Okay. Unless you're grandfathered in. Which probably doesn't apply for anybody that would be watching the video, right? And I don't think it applies to any of us. Oh, Deep Matter, you're the one that I was talking to the other day. Good deal. Okay. Unless so he was the one where he was asking me about how to do it. And I was like, at first I thought it was kind of like a simple question. Like at first I thought, well, you should be able to figure this out. But like I started to realize that the information about which one you pick, because he was trying to pick, the information about what to pick and everything wasn't really actually there. Like that you kind of figure it out as you're trying, and then you get really frustrated, right? Because you'll get this idea of what you want to do, and then you find out, oh, it doesn't really work that way. Okay, so NinjaTrader uses CQG Continuum. Okay. If you want to use Jigsaw with it, you need to use the bridge. Okay. Jigsaw can connect to CQG Continuum directly, but the broker has to enable it. That's the other thing that's kind of frustrating on that side. Okay, now this is the one that I don't know is NinjaTrader also supports Rhythmic. I'm not sure. Because I was told that when I switched FCM that they would allow me to use Rhythmic, but in the FCM interface that they have, there's a way for you to go in and change your data, but there's no like way to choose between Rhythmic or CQG. It's just like it's CQG with different options about which markets you want. Caleb says Rhythmic is in the NT drop-down list. You mean like if I come in here, configure, I think it is. Yeah. So if you come in to configure your connections, you should get Rhythmic for NinjaTrader brokerage. Right? So it's a possibility. If you're grandfathered in, you'll just have regular Rhythmic. Or you can not use your NinjaTrader license, which is what I was doing for a long time. And you can just use a demo license, and the demo license will let you connect to Rhythmic, which is kind of funny. Okay, now there's a bunch of other ones. There's Continuum, but you can also connect with TD Ameritrade and Interactive Brokers. So, okay, I'm just going to make a note, TD, Ameritrade, and Interactive Brokers, because I don't know what the deal is with that. By the way, that trade that I gave up on, I might have been able to have caught it, because we did move down another little step there. Right. Lucas says you want continuum, in your opinion. Why do you say that? Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, the meeting. Yes, the FOMC starts today, and then there's a conference tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Now, if you use Rhythmic, you can forward data to multiple apps using Rhythmic Trader Pro, right? Advantage of this is you don't have to rely on NinjaTrader to forward data because NT can crash sometimes, especially if you're doing funky stuff like me. I was advised by John Grady to skip FOMC days. Yeah. Well, you know what? For like the order flow scalping, FOMC moves too fast for you to do stuff. But with these micro treasuries, you could take some risks in there in certain situations. Like if they came out tomorrow and they said we have no plans to taper in 2021, or we've decided to push it back, and it was like in the statement, I think that the treasuries would like skyrocket up here and the rates would get killed, right? And in that situation, it would probably make sense to try and catch it in the rates as it goes. But otherwise, it can just be messy and you lose money. So coming back over to here. Oh, there's also IQ feed. You can IQ feed and Kinetic are also available, but expensive. Oh, no, I don't necessarily mean the news release. I mean the previous action in the morning since the open. Oh, yeah. Well, we've often had some good moves the days before the FOMC, but not as of late, not in the post-pandemic era, for sure. Something changed. Is the FOMC a big thing? Oh, yeah. That FOMC tomorrow could be everything, but it could also just be a non-event. If they say something specific about the taper in the statement, then I'd say that it ends up being everything. If they don't say anything in the statement but he still says something in the press conference, still pretty big deal, but hard to trade off of. But maybe he says nothing and it ends up being a non-event, which is a pretty solid possibility that that's what happens. NinjaTrader 8 execution, right? Okay, so here for NinjaTrader supports Rhythmic. The other option is you can use a demo license of Ninja. Maybe I shouldn't tell them this. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this part out. But I'm gonna tell you guys here on the stream. If you're on AMP, if you use a free NinjaTrader license, you can connect your NinjaTrader to Rhythmic with a demo license. But because that doesn't get rid of that option, right? But then your other option is to only use Jigsaw, which is a pretty good option right now, actually. It's a pretty good option right now, actually. And then it doesn't matter where you go, because you get CQG or Rhythmic anywhere you want. And they're kind of open to it. Anyways. Broker/data. Is there anything else that I should be saying about this? Ayo, but I need to monitor my trades when I am not at my desk. Okay, yes. Yeah, so if you want to do that, you can use CQG. I will mention that one. Where should we mention that? CQG has a mobile app, but your broker has to enable it. It seems to me that with CQG Continuum, it's basically like, we'll let NinjaTrader connect to it, but anything else that tries to connect to it, we have to enable it, it seems. Oh, wait, Jeff, you don't know who John Grady is? John Grady is the grandfather of trading treasuries using order flow for retail traders. He's the one that turned us on to this idea. That's what made me choose AMP, was that you wanted to use the mobile app. Okay. So, to that point, I need to talk to NinjaTrader. Where did let's see here. I sent them an email about that, right? NinjaTrader Rhythmic. Yes, I will respond to them right here. My account has been moved over to NinjaTrader's, Ninja capital T, Traders FCM. I am okay on CQG. Well, is it still possible to use Rhythmic data? Can you give me the fees and commissions associated with both? And CQG Continuum. Hopefully that will reopen that ticket to them. Well, you know what? They've moved around. So they've moved around quite a bit here in the US. They're pushing down again. I'd say pretty ugly action so far today. But not really the best trading action per se. AO says you just spoke with them and they can do it. I believe you, but in order to tell people on video, I think I need to have a direct confirmation from them. But I'm hoping to do this video this weekend, I think. Right? So there's that one. And then, do I have it over here? Thaw Basics. I didn't actually put anything in this one. I'm hoping that I could do like 2 videos in a week. Food's moving through my stomach here again. Thanks for the reference about Forex correlations. We'll probably need to contact NinjaTrader support so they can help code something and make it so I can watch my markets. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Lucas? Now I'm confused because surely you know about correlations and stuff, right? What would you code? I don't know. So like, here's the thing. The thing that I find difficult is with the treasuries. There should be a way to go in and say, okay, it's based on the dollar value of this and this interest rate thing and all of these things, and that tells me, and the risk of the US defaulting and whatever, and that gives me my value or something. I want that quote board. What quote board? You mean like the market analyzer? Jay not doing so hot today. You mean like the market analyzer I have in the lower right there? So I don't see, you shouldn't have to do anything. The Forex correlation you referred me to. That was a few days ago, wasn't it? I don't remember. I only remember vaguely. I want that quote board to be able to show me the dollar index is what I want. But you can use my dollar if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel here, and you go through the activation steps that I have on speculatorseth.com. You can get the synthetic dollar index. Oh, the FX correlation tool. That's right. Yeah. It just doesn't. It's just not. They have this tool, but they don't allow you. I don't think that they allow you to add instruments that are not Forex. See? Lame. It should just be a correlation tool, not an FX correlation tool. But I don't know. So here's the thing is that correlations, I think, can be problematic. Like, why are they offering that for Forex only? Who knows? I don't know. I have this like little hair or something here in the mouse pad that comes up and pokes me in the wrist, and I don't know what's causing it or how to get rid of it. Don't you feel brokers are quite lame at offering correlation tool options? Well, okay, so here's the deal. Is like, let's say that we have a tool. Let's say that we're using like the Vista chart, or we're using like maybe even better example would be the book map, because then you can like really zoom in. I read this study the other day where they were talking about using a tool that CERN built to show the granular data, and they were like, oh, it seems to be really useful, and that was their study, even though they didn't like show any edges or anything like that. But I was like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, the book map Vista chart is kind of cool. But anyways, let's say that here you've got the treasury, and you see an order and an order and an order and an order, and like a whole cluster of orders going up, right? And prices moving up, right? And then you come over here and you look at the dollar index, and there's a bunch of orders like right here, right? And it moves up. But then the dollar index ends up going down or whatever. So like you could have this thing where like very clearly these orders are coming in at the same time, and you might even see it happen over and over again where the orders seem to hit both markets at seemingly the same time, or maybe you'll see them hit this one and then you'll see them hit this one, and you can test that an order coming in here has a statistically significant probability of creating an order over here, right? And you can do that sort of a thing. That could be possible for that to hold, and for the correlation between the two instruments to not show very strong in your correlation numbers, or even in your co-integration numbers. You get what I mean? They could be related, and you would only be able to see it from watching the order flow, or the watching the orders themselves, and not like where price goes from. So there's like a real problem. There's like a real problem with correlations. So I'll show you. Here's something that I did. I'm just going to cover up a bunch of stuff here. I'll leave the E-mini uncovered, okay? Let me bring these back up first, and then so that when we pull it back, they're there. Okay. So here's our studio. Okay, so what I've done here is I went on to the Fred, and I pulled the data for the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. And he said, is there a correlation between the balance sheet and the interest rate? Right? So let's see here. What is I didn't do correlation with this one. R language correlation. Correlation between two variables in R. I don't know if I want to use the Pearson correlation. One of the issues with R is that you can get like different ways of doing it. Okay, you can use the correlation function to produce correlations and the cov function to produce covariances. The simplified format is core x use equals method equals, where x is the matrix or data frame used, specifies the handling of missing data. Unfortunately, neither core or cov produce tests of significance, although you can use core.test function to test a single correlation coefficient. The R-core function in the HMISC package produces correlations, covariances, and significance levels for Pearson and Spearman correlations. However, input must be a matrix, and pairwise deletion is used. Oh, I don't like that. You can use the format core x, y or R core x, y to generate correlations between the columns of x and the columns of y. Okay, so let's try that. Well, let me show you what I did first. So, let me close these other two tabs. I don't know why they're open. Okay, so I read in my spreadsheet with the data that has the rates and the Federal Reserve's balance date in there. And then I come in here and I just do Granger test and I say, okay, is there a correlation between the Federal Reserve balance sheet, them buying assets, and the interest rate? We run that. Oh, I have to do all this first. I have to run all this first. So get the data in there. Okay. And then I do the Granger test on it. Okay. So for the Granger test, Granger causality test, it says that if this F number over here is less than 0.05, then you have a statistically significant p-value that shows that this data series can predict this data series, right? So what is it saying? It's saying that the Federal Reserve purchasing assets does not accurately predict rates. But what is it's the other way? Do rates accurately predict the Federal Reserve adding things to their to their balance sheet? So we do it the other way around. Rate, balance sheet. We run that one. Now you get something different, right? Because the P is 0.0006. And then it tells you about these significant codes because it's saying it was statistically significant. Isn't that cool? So what does that tell us? It tells us that the interest rate market moves in anticipation of the Federal Reserve buying more assets. That basically they watch the data and they front run the Federal Reserve is a potential theory based off of what we just got there, right? Now, the Granger test might not be a valid test for the kind of stuff that we're using here. But there's causality. Well, I wonder though, if we find this library, let's do this library that they're mentioning here. I think I have to do tools. Yeah, there we go. Tools, install packages, and do HMISC. Okay, it says I have to restart R. That's okay. So use Treasury auction data instead. And I mean, we proved the correlation the other way around. It's interesting, right? See if there's what they say with them being correlated, though. I will never trade ZN again. I need something more volatile than NQ. Is there any such thing? I don't know if there's one worse than NQ. Bitcoin. Yeah, I think the only other one that you could do that would be worse is Bitcoin. Okay. So now I should be able to add this library. Didn't restart. I don't know if that. Okay. Maybe I do need to restart it. If you've never tried ZN, I think that you should start on ZN. Like, trade ZN for a month or two, and you'll probably completely suck at it, but you learn so much from trading it. That 10-year is still sitting there right at the 10 area. It's really interesting. Okay, let's see if it will load them. Okay. That seems to have worked. Oh no, wait, we didn't add the one that we wanted. We need to add this one, HMSISC. Okay, we Ace AcePack, so maybe I can just come in here and install AcePack. Okay. So then let's try it again. Run. Lattice Extra. Oh my gosh, how many of these are there going to be? Should just install dependencies, but apparently that package does not have the dependencies added in there very well. It's not available. Oh, what version are we on here? R help. R about RStudio. No. Help diagnostics. Check for package updates, maybe? Oh, so many. But is there like R core? How does that work? I'll try it. What's the tick value for ZN? It's like $15. 15.0125. Nasdaq Trader says he lost 2 ticks in ZN. Doesn't look like ZN is necessarily in a good spot to trade right now, right? They are really stuck around that 10. It will take a bit to move them away from it. Okay. Did you check out the details around Ivana charm flows? Oh, well, you know, I didn't look at it. It was options. I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I don't have anything about modeling that, no. Wouldn't even know where to begin looking. Maybe we could search SSRN. Okay, so does that mean they're done? HMISC now it's working. Okay, so core these two. Will it run? That's weird. It must still be doing something. Is it hard to learn R? Kind of depends on what you're using it for. You'll notice that it's really like the language itself is just a simple scripting language, but knowing all of the different things available to you and stuff, it's like pretty crazy. But it's usually one of those things where it's like you just know what you need and you search for it and somebody shows you how to do it. And I've never had a situation where I was trying to do something in R and I couldn't find help for it. Late to the party, what happened? Oh, yesterday I had to go in for a colonoscopy, and that's why we only streamed for an hour. That's all. Is it still going here? I think it's still installing things. I'll just move this out of the way for now and wait for it to finish. What is the level of sophisticated? A lot of these are very sophisticated. I tell you, this running this thing, like running the Granger test on that, for you to be able to do it with one line is pretty crazy. Because if you were to program that out yourself, it's quite a bit of math. It's like you have to do like vector math and all this crazy stuff like that. There's some more spam. I've been getting spam on in Google lately. Isn't that weird? Okay, well, since you guys are talking about the 10-year, let's watch it here a little bit, because they did fall back from the 10 a little bit, right? So between 10 and 9 is where there's kind of a little hole. Yeah, I'm going to cancel this thing in R. Yes, save that change. We're going to restart it. Okay, we'll see if any of those work. It looks to me like it's just some of the packages needed to be updated. So hopefully that works. Now, what's this? McConnell, even with the border as insecure as it's ever been, the far left wanted sweeping amnesty, and Democratic leaders dutifully tried their very best. It just goes to show you how radical this legislation is going to be. Treasury hits cryptocurrency outfit, urges security measures. Well, back up and no on 9.5. If we get some volume coming in here, then maybe we could try and take a trade. Or we could try swinging this long. Like if we had gotten 31, that would have been an okay trade, right? feel like we were talking about something and I kind of lost track. I don't know. Well, the thing that I was trying to show you in R there is that you could have something that predicts the other thing and them not actually being correlated. Like when you really understand the statistics and everything, correlation isn't necessarily telling you what you think it is, right? Unless it's a really, really high correlation. And so you probably need to use a more sophisticated analysis. And it's an analysis that I can kind of do live. I can say, okay, I saw these two instruments. They seem to have correlated volume there at that particular instance. And here's a reason why they might have been that way, right? But doing that programmatically is like, I have no clue how you do that. Yeah, Treasury does not look like they're ready to move right now. I think they made their move and they want to just sit here now. Correlation is good for swinging, but not for scalping. Maybe. Okay. I think we got it here. GG plot 2, huh? One, 3, 1. No, it says that I need 1, 4, 3. Well, let's try it. Let's try this again. Maybe I've been doing something wrong here. Let's try this. Installer. Install R. Require install R. Update R. There is a new version. Okay. I do not want to see news. Yes, I would like to install the newest version. It is best to run installer from our GUI. Fine. Yes. Okay, so we're going to do it over here. Require install R. Update R. Okay. Oh, don't need to see the news. Yes. You can install R using Anaconda. Oh, okay. Well, I think I figured it out. Banks say draft capital rules make crypto assets too costly to trade. Proposed capital rules for banks holding crypto assets on their books could block lenders from competing in the fast-growing sector. What's this about Evergrande? Asked about Hubei Gangdam, an executive of Evergrande's wealth management division, said that it was just a shell company. Proceeds from the WMPs have been used to bridge various funding gaps faced by the parent company. The executive said there is no need to thoroughly examine where the money actually went. Some WMP proceeds were used to repay previous products, but sales plummeted, making it difficult for the business model to continue. Many people might be arrested for financial fraud if investors don't get paid off, he said. Our products were not for everyone, but our grassroots salespeople didn't consider this when making their sales pitches, and they targeted everyone in order to meet their own sales targets. Oh boy. He thinks that there's more to come, huh? So let's see what else he's talking about today. Well, anyways. Which Squawk service do you recommend? So if you have the money, use New Squawk, and if you don't have the money, use Financial Juice. Financial Juice is what I use, and it's about $70 a month, I believe. And I have an affiliate link in the video description below. Click Finisher. Do you wish to copy your packages from the older version of R to the new version of R? Yes. Once your packages are copied, do you wish to keep the packages from the library in the old R installation? If you choose new, or let's say no. Do you wish to copy your R profile? Yes. Do you wish to update your packages in the newly installed R? Yes. Okay, and now nothing's happening. Well, it looks like Jay is just doing dismally today. If we're on a downturn, he probably just shouldn't be taking that trade. But if we're on the upturn, it probably works great. Well, we had a couple of good days before things went terrible, right? I don't see any pop-ups coming up or anything like that, so I'm wondering if it's actually doing something. Okay. And Treasury is going to move a little higher here now. Seems like the 30-year wants to go. Yeah, I mean, maybe if we got the fill there. If we were already long 10.5 and we're waiting for the fill at 11, I'd be happy, but... No packages to copy. Goodbye. Stop current computation. Do you wish to restart the argue? No. Quit. Yeah. Okay. Let's try our studio here again. Well, missed it. You could maybe try buying here at, well, I got an okay spot in 10.5, so I'm okay. Stall. So in this instance, like, we got a pretty good position, right? But if that canceled all of a sudden and there was only 1,600 on there, then I would probably want to cancel too. Because why? The market makers, something changed in the correlations. The market makers don't want it there anymore. Okay. I think now it's going to run. Let's see. Run. Awesome. Okay. So now I think we can do this. Correlation. Okay. So it says that there is a negative correlation between the two of them of 0.79. So I think for it to be, I remember Nassim Taleb saying that unless the correlation was higher than 0.8, that it might not be a significant deal. But they do appear to be pretty correlated, don't they? Anyways, isn't it great? Other than having to get R up to date, isn't it great that that's all you got to do is just that one little line and it tells you how correlated they are? Woo! Well, E-mini falling out again here. I feel like, we haven't done any good fun trades today. Maybe we should, try following this and get destroyed on the downside, huh? There you go. No favorable excursion at all. What do you see in the treasuries? Well, I'm really interested that they are above 10.5 and holding bids there, right? Not enough that I'm confident at taking it at 11, but it looks like they might move a little higher here. And the equity correlation falling out. Oh, so does Jay still have one more trade left in him? I guess so, but he's going to hit his daily loss limit today. Seth, have you ever had to use if bars type equals null return in your... No, I've never had to look at if the bars type is null. How would that ever happen? Huh. You certainly have to go in and check, like, if there are enough bars to actually run. That's one of the more frustrating things you have to work with in NinjaTrader, especially when you're doing multiple instrument strategies. So that 11 is still kind of weak. Okay, something just happened there. Yeah. So did you see how the 11 firmed up really quickly? And probably those two orders into 10.5 were retail traders bailing. I hope that wasn't you two. So I pull up one day and market replay and everything's good. I pull up another day and I get error on calling on bar update error that will not resolve. Have you tried debugging it in Visual Studio? That sounds like something that you kind of have to debug and see what variable is not really actually showing that should. Oil falls through yesterday's low and quick turn lower as sentiment deteriorates. Yeah, that definitely feels like the sentiment is deteriorating, doesn't it? We're getting to like overnight levels right now. Maybe below 35 would be a little bit more dramatic. See if they test. No, that was pretty good. I'm going to give it just a little bit more to make up for that loss that we did. I have to say, though, I don't use market replay very often, so I'm not that familiar with it. Well, there's one spot 3-1 again if we wanted to go long. I don't know if I actually want to go long in the treasury right now, but if I did, that's where I think I would be trying to do it. I have. The problem is that the error usually gets triggered on a future bar. Wait, really? So like it's okay at the first and then later on it crashes? I don't know. But either way, being able to debug it is probably the only way to solve those kinds of problems, right? You need to be able to stop and then see what it looks like. To go and look at the data series. One question is it a multiple data series indicator or strategy? Because what I find happens a lot when you're doing those sorts of things is you get these, oh, you know what? So that pulled. I'm going to pull. That one kind of looks like a lure, to be honest. Yeah, okay. So we could be filled, but it's not the clear trade that I wanted, so. And it looks like that they went and took out my profit. Yes, they did. Cool. Yeah, it flipped back very quickly, though. It's a single series. I don't know. So sometimes you can get these weird situations where, because of race conditions and multi-threading and stuff, you'll get into that on-bar update method, and there should be a data series there, and it's not there yet, But in an instance like that, you should be able to look at the current bar variable and, exit out of the loop if there's not enough, if you're not enough current bars to do your calculation. I didn't notice Michael J. Berry is tweeting again, huh? Well, there's not really enough volume going into 10.5, so I don't think that my little one tick scalp makes sense here in the treasury still. Even though we got a really good spot there in the queue. Even if we had taken it the other direction, you wouldn't have got, I don't think we would have, we would have gotten filled at 10. So what we could have done is we could have hit into 10.5 on the expectation of getting filled at 10. But I was actually surprised that they pulled as easily as they did at 10. I could switch the date range and market replay and the error would disappear. That's really weird. So maybe the data set is corrupted then, huh? Well, if the S&P 500 were to reverse here, I'm actually getting something that suggests that they're already getting really high up here. That's what I'm thinking wouldn't be the first time NT hosed my data, yeah. I do need to move the oil contract over, don't I? Let's see here. Totally forgot about that. Yep. Roll over. There we go. Much better. Schumer on voting rights. If Republicans are unwilling to move forward, Democrats will have to move on our own. Yeah, well, isn't that the whole... Okay, so have you guys been following this thing that's going on in Congress? So the Democrats want to raise the debt ceiling, and the Republicans have said, no, we're not going to help you. If you're going to take on more debt, we're not going to do it. Now, that's a problem, right? Because the U.S. could default. Well, not a problem, because the Democrat Party should have enough votes to do it themselves. And I think that even Manchin would be all in on, increasing the debt ceiling so they can avoid defaults. So the Democrats have the ability to raise the debt ceiling themselves, but for some reason, they really are pushing that the Republicans need to vote for it too. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, if you really think that not raising the debt limit is such a bad idea, then why don't you just raise it yourselves right now and then turn around and say, you see how irresponsible and useless the Republicans are? We don't even need them, right? But they don't want to do that. It's like they don't want to take the full responsibility for doing it. It has to be a bipartisan thing, because otherwise they'll get hit or something. It's kind of funny to watch. Okay, so 11.5 firming up a little bit again. Or 10.5 rather. Strange Republicans. I don't think that they were ever fine doing it. There was always Republicans that were kind of opposed to it. I don't think there was ever an instance where it was like 100%, right? And they had big, huge battles over it, and they didn't raise the ceiling until they got like a larger deal and all that sort of a thing. But in this particular instance, I think that the Republicans are saying, why should we be on the hook for doing it? Republicans like Ron Paul were always again. I wouldn't call him an outlier. Well, not Ron Paul, but I mean, that's like the base of the party doesn't want them to raise the debt ceiling. Okay. Like, you gotta understand that every time that the Republicans come in and raise the debt ceiling, all of their base was coming up behind them and saying, see, they don't actually care about the debt. This is why we need to stop electing milquetoast Republicans, blah, 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 blah. Right? So I think that just dismissing it as an outlier is kind of missing the larger undertones of what's going on there. But I do think that this time is different, just in that Democrats don't need the Republicans to pass it. So why are they so insistent on having Republicans to pass it? So they need to be able to come in and say, no, look, we did the right thing by raising the debt ceiling because it was a bipartisan decision. I don't know. Honestly, kind of seems like my first thought would be like, oh, that's a mistake for Republicans because they'll do it without you. But then the Democrats react the way that they are kind of makes you go, okay. Republicans are calling a bluff on something, and the Democrats are afraid. Why is that? U.S. Treasury reduces the size of this 4-week bill sale to $10 billion and the 8-week sale to $25 billion. Yeah, that trade that I was trying at 10.5 to 11, it does look like I would have made some money in here, but that might have just been random. That one might just be random. Or more than anything. Yep, now I'm getting the sleepiness. Oh, you know what? It's time for me to go, guys. Hey, I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends. Thank you, AO. Yeah, I'm just realizing now I was like way out of it. Okay, later. Stay profitable.